Oh, hello there. Contrary to popular opinion, I'm not always the sharpest knife in the drawer. I know people that know me are going, "What?" But it's true. Yesterday, I set up all the shots with that camera and I took my time and I did everything really good yesterday, except for the whole day I filmed in 30 times fast forward. So yesterday was a really short day, and yeah, it wasn't. None of it was usable, basically. Tiny bit in the beginning. Maybe a few clips in the beginning I think were okay still, but the rest of it was a complete waste of time. So I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of quickly go over what I did yesterday, and actually kind of quickly just cover some of the stuff that I've done up to this point. It's we're starting to put it back together now, so well, there's a lot to put back together, but it probably won't take all that long. Anyways, let's look at what I've done so far, or what I should say, what we've done. The wife's actually done more of it than me. Don't tell her that though. Okay, so for starters, the window frames, they all had this, like, they were just yucky corrosion. Wife cleaned all that, scraped off all the putty and whatnot, repainted. They were kind of mildew too, like once we took the paneling off here, the wood was all mildewed, so we had to get all that off and repaint it with a mold inhibiting paint. So that's one thing. Marker lights, they're all new. I just used cheap ones because that's what I had. So eventually those will be changed when I find something I like. So far I haven't found anything. I looked on Amazon and whatnot, and I just didn't find anything that stood out. So that will be changed one day. Now, although this looks like a mess, it's not. It's the wires just have to be all, I'll put some tie wraps around them and I'll tuck them all in. But this is one of the things I did yesterday, is I went through all these wires and figured them all out, soldered them all, and I put this switch in. This is the back of the switch here, and I'll show you what it does. Now, all these wires here, I've replaced everything, and now we've got a couple wires that go down here that are just dangling there. Those are future spares, which I'll be able to access from any part of the camper. I'll be able to access those from underneath. This was done a while ago. This is the 120 volt for the TV and DVD player. Okay, I'm not sure if I've showed this in the previous video or not, but this is where I ended up mounting the inverter. Yes, it had to be upside down, but it's a 1,000 watt pure sine, as you can see, 2,000 watt peak. So should be enough to do what I need it to do. Okay, let's go take a look inside. You first. Okay. Starters. The 4 switches here. So those are the 4 I installed yesterday. Outside light, which when you flick this on, it will light up. So if you leave the outside light on by accident, this will be beaming in your face all night, telling you to shut it off. This one here will be this closest inside light, which will be going right here. One of these goes down for the side compartments. There will be lights in the side compartments to light them up, and another one of these is a spare which the wires I showed previously are down there, just waiting for something. That there is the 120 volt for the TV and DVD player, which will be going in soon. I just have to get the rest of the trim. I put this one piece of trim up just to kind of get an idea of how it's going to end up. Now I just got to start getting the rest of the trim up. So what we've done inside, we've done all the walls, the ceiling. Now everything's done except for the trim everywhere. All the wiring I've redone. At this end, we have all the wiring here, which comes up from in here, the battery compartment. Now all that wiring is coming up into here. This will be mounted somewhere. This is a remote for the inverter, which also has your battery life on it. These are for charging phones, whatnot. And there's a few other electrical things. One that does your battery temperature, so it'll take the temperature of the battery inside that box. And yeah, I won't tell you everything because gotta have some surprises. So anyways, what's left to do in here is trim mostly. I mean, there's more, like, but trim. It all needs more varnish once it's done. But I don't know if this stands out on the camera or not, but it feels like glass, but hard like rock. And what else? Now behind here, this is not just the battery goes in here, but also there's a 12 volt DC little panel that's going to go somewhere in here. And there's the electrical. Now this goes up behind the wall, it goes up and through, and there's these things of, I don't know what you know about electrical, but they're electrical trons, and that's what they're called. And they flow, and they're really smart, and they flow to each one of the different devices, and they make them work. That's what I know about the electrical electrons. Now, also, we have, because we're on a budget, this could possibly end up being the floor. We find out if we get enough pieces or not. If we get enough pieces for free, then of course this will be the floor, because we're cheapskates. Free is good. Now this here, is the device I just spoke of. This is what will be distributing the electrical electrons to all the different places where needed. So this will go down inside that box there. And there's a cover here that leads to the power inverter. And the power inverter, these are the wires that they hook up to the battery, and they make the power inverter work. Now, for those of you that don't know what a power inverter is, it makes a 12 volt battery into 120 volts to power household items, because it's got this thing inside it. It's got a magnifier inside it that magnifies the electricity to 10 times. So 12 volts 10 times more becomes 120 volts. That's what it does. Anyways, that's all I can come up with today. Okay, and thanks for watching episode.